On tap, a little soul searching. Hi, I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority. We have now been doing the Better Beer Authority for 6 months. A group of friends and strangers got together to discuss beer in a way that they had never looked at beer before. Today, we're going to look back at those first 6 months and figure out what the hell we did wrong. Adam, when I first sent you the email asking you if you wanted to be on the panel, what did you think?
When you first sent me the email, I thought it was spam. But after I went back, and because I think you texted me or talked to me at football and said, hey, what do you think about it? And you know, I went back and read the email. I still didn't fully understand what the vision was. It wasn't until we got started building the set and kind of talking, drinking the beers while we were building the set, got the ideas going, got the ideas flowing, and you know, it wasn't until we got that all done until I understood what it was.
I felt kind of a little bit crazy when I started asking people if they wanted to be part of this. Did you feel like it was crazy at all?
No, I didn't. I was excited. I mean, just like one of our newer members that we have, I was very excited to have the opportunity to do this. I thought it was a great idea, and I wanted to be as involved as possible from the very beginning. I think that I could tell that your feeling was, well, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if we're going to find enough people, but I think we found the right people to do this.
Joby, is it true that you're a BMC douchebag?
James, that's a great question. I'd have to say yes. I mean, minus maybe the douchebag part, but I am a BMC lover. I grew up drinking it. I still drink it today, and you know, on a Saturday where I'm just looking to get drunk and have a lot of beers, I'm going to buy Miller Lite. So,
but who's not going to? I mean, really, I will go out if I'm going to go out and have some nice craft beers. I'm going to go out, and that's my plan. But if I want to go out and I'm just having beers,
like
I'm
a
still buying them. Yeah, like a tailgate, or
right.
I mean, up at the lake.
Well, I think I can
like
answer
I'm
that
still
for
drinking
you.
them.
Who's not going to? Some of those people that hate BMC drinks. Some of those people just only want the craft beers, and that's all they go for, and that's, you know, their only love. They just hate for some reason.
I would venture to guess otherwise.
Scott, do you think that, I mean, obviously we have a past of drinking Bud Miller Coors. I mean, do you have that hatred? Like, do you try and stay open-minded? What is your position, BMC versus craft?
My position is very similar to what I think of, you know, people's beliefs in general. I mean, everyone has their taste, and they're welcome to it, and they're entitled to it. And anyone that tries to impose their own, I guess, beliefs or tastes onto someone else is kind of, you know, it's unwelcomed at times. I mean, it's each to their own. And I like craft beers, and I like BMC beers as well. Actually, I like more like MC beers because I hate B.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, in general, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's each to their own. And there are some people that hate craft beers, and there are some people that despise BMC beers. That's fine. Each person to their own taste.
Well, I
still disagree. I disagree with with that comment. I think even though you like craft beers, most craft beers are not those session beers. They're not ones that you're going to sit and drink a dozen of. And we all know that, Scott, you love to drink a dozen beers at a time because you've mentioned it on the show several times.
But you said the key words. I mean, well, not even key words. It's just the way you're saying it. You're trying to almost blanket statement things and say that there's nobody on this earth that does. I can tell you that I know multiple people that despise Bud, Miller, and Coors that only drink craft beers, and they drink them as session beers. It doesn't matter if it's a 9% beer or a 5% beer they're drinking. They drink it as session beers. I mean, yeah, I agree with you in the fact that in general, most people do enjoy both, and for different reasons. And obviously, yeah, I'm not going to go out and drink a dozen of these beers.
So,
I mean,
sure.
Joby, I personally, you know, have nothing against BMC. I think that this show, the sum total, is that it opens up people's eyes to other possibilities. We'll review BMC, we'll review craft, but has it opened up your eyes at all?
Definitely, James. I mean, before this, whenever I went in the store, I always looked for the BMC products, you know. That's the only thing I ever looked for until I came onto the BBA set and started trying these different beers, I knew there were, actually different beers out there. And, they might be a little more expensive, but again, you get what you pay for. They're a little more tasty, and again, you're not going to drink 12 or 8 of them at a given time, but there's a time and a place for everything. I feel like from this show, my perspective is the BMC quote-unquote douchebag that you called me earlier, that people have called me in the reviews.
Well, Beer Advocate Forum specifically.
Beer Advocate Forum specifically, our Arrogant Bastard review. But my view is coming from a BMC douchebag about these different beers. I haven't had all of these great beers that they've had before, and all these craft beers that everyone loves, and they make it home, and they can pick out the notes and the barley and the hops. I mean, I'm coming from it. Does it taste good to me? Is it drinkable? Do I recommend it to other BMC douchebags out there?
Well, I think that's what's great about it, is that I think your voice is very important on this panel, because you do represent, like, if the craft breweries want to reach out to new people, they have to convert BMC people. So are they converting someone like you? I think that's an important voice to have on the panel. Now, Adam, you had done, like, at Bob's Bar, you've done this thing where you tasted over 150 beers. You're a chef. You had a lot of different opportunities to describe flavors. I mean, has anything about this experience changed you?
I mean, it is really just kind of broadened the spectrum. I've always enjoyed beer. I've always enjoyed all aspects of the beer and different flavors that go along with it. I think that, along with what Joby was saying is, we're beer reviewers for the non-craft brew drinker. I think that I said that a lot when we were at the beer fest. We are reviewing beers. We don't have experience with reviewing beers. We just started doing this, and we give our arbitrary ratings. I do believe that I can pull out a lot of different flavors. Whether or not I like the beer, I can still pull out the flavors of it and tell you what I think the flavor composition of it is.
So, Adam, I think on average you have the highest ratings. And I don't mean that in a good way or a bad way. Have you ever met a beer you didn't like?
I think I told you when I first started on the panel, I told you one of my least favorite beers is Heineken. But a real quick story, I was down in the Caribbean, and I was doing a fishing charter, and the captain of the fishing charter, asked him what kind of beer he liked to drink, and he said Heineken. Bought an 18-pack of Heineken. 4 hours later, 18-pack is gone. I have not met a beer that I will not drink multiples of.
So, Scott, you on average probably have the lowest ratings. I mean, but I've seen you like to drink beer. What do you attribute that to?
Maybe at times I haven't done some beers justice because I was coming from a different place for each rating. I was kind of thinking of the ratings as, would I drink a dozen of these beers in a day? 4-hour day.
Don't drink a dozen beers.
Bad idea. This is for you, America. But no, my taste, everything has changed, and my thoughts on beer have just completely changed as well. It's more about the experience at that time, and I enjoy a lot of beers. There are some beers that I really don't like. I mean, Buckeye beer. I'm telling you right now, I taste that again. It's getting a low score. I don't like that beer. It just isn't for me, but some other people like it. For me, this show itself has just expanded my taste and really made me appreciate each beer as I drink it individually.
Okay, so we got really ripped apart for our Arrogant Bastard video episode. I mean, Joby, do you think it was fair, or do you think it was justified, or do you think, is there some other explanation for it?
Well, I agree that the review said that we didn't talk about the beer in its entirety. We didn't talk about the flavors, the aroma, and we kind of played off the title of Arrogant Bastard. Jeremy Frey sat here with a silk shirt, sunglasses. He was trying to play the part of an arrogant bastard.
Okay, Fraze?
Phrase what?
Tell me what's up.
You tell me.
Do you like this beer?
I guess. Arrogant bastard. I mean, You know, it's all right. You know, I think, you know, they say it well on the back of their bottle. You know, they're not going to dump millions into marketing the beer because there's no way they could effectively market this beer.
You know, if you're a first-time BBA viewer and that's the only video you're ever going to watch, you're going to think that guy is Captain Douchebag. But, you know, again, I think we got caught up in the title and the packaging of that beer rather than talking about the beer in whole. Again, for me, it was still hoppy to me, so therefore I tend to lean away from the hoppier beer. So again, I don't know that I would give it a great rating, even though beeradvocate.com is the mecca of beers on there. So again, I don't think we did it justice, but again, I don't think the first-time viewers of the BBA totally understood our review.
No, I think that I personally feel like I did a bad job on that review because I would have changed my opinion now completely. And with this beer, I'd say it has small bottle syndrome. Yeah, the bottle speaks a lot about being arrogant and what you should think. I mean, it's a little too out there. It's one-dimensional beer, maybe a little bit multi-dimensional, but the one dimension that hits you in the face is the hops. I mean, I had that again 3 weeks later and completely changed my opinion of the beer and really just took it for what it was as that beer at that moment. It's not one that I'm going to try to drink a dozen of. It had a great mix of flavors. It was just, I feel like we did a poor job. Joby said exactly that we talked about the label and the marketing and the advertisement, and we were more having fun with it, which that's what this show is about. So people that get all bent out of shape about some review that doesn't go off exactly like they see it going off, they're not looking for an opinion. They're looking for something else. They're looking for someone else that has their exact same view. I mean, we're having a good time.
But
So-
as an innocent bystander, I watched the video. I was not here to do the original
Right,
review
you were
for the-
unavailable that day.
Yeah, I was not available.
You were an arrogant bastard.
I was an arrogant bastard.
Cooking somewhere, probably.
Probably.
What are you cooking up?
But no, watching the review, I do think that I partially agree with you guys. You guys did not give the beer enough of the flavor justice that it needs. But I think from the arrogant bastard standpoint, I think there are certain people that tell you that this beer should be one of your top 10 beers that you drink, and because of that, there's a lot of people that fall into that suit. They say, you know, someone tells you that, hey, this is one of the best beers in the world. You're gonna drink it and be like, man, this is really awesome beer. And I don't really agree with that necessarily. I do agree with the fact that, you know, Joby, with you not liking hops, it is a hoppy beer. In between every flavor, you get hops. I mean, unless you sit and think about it a lot, you get hops.
The problem was we were hypercritical based on, I feel like
Sure.
some of us were hypercritical based on the fact that going into it we knew that it was supposedly rated one of the top 10 beers in the world. And I mean, I'm personally speaking from I was hypercritical of it, almost based on its label and the verbiage on the label and the advertising.
But I still think that, I mean, you know, going back, I mean, what would you rate it right now, Scott?
I'd probably give it in between an 8 and a 9. Honestly,
Okay.
it just has a unique flavor, and it really does have
And
a
Joby?
standout flavor.
I wouldn't change my rating.
Yeah. See,
I wouldn't
See,
change
I
my
mean-
rating. But then again, you know what? That is our highest viewership video that we've done. And good, bad, or indifferent, you know, good press is bad press. It's all press.
But the thing is, we're not looking for
I mean,
press. We're looking for people to watch us because they want to understand like what normal and average guys think about beer. And I can tell you that, like, it depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking for a beer that you can drink 20 of, you know, then maybe we should say that.
We're not looking
When I
for
say
a beer that
20,
we're
I'm
drinking
in a
20
week.
of.
I
Come on
think,
now.
I mean, for
No.
me personally, I don't usually like to give my opinions on the beers, but I thought it was, you know, the first time I had it, I gave it a 6. Second time I had it, I gave it a 7. So it definitely had increased. Although, you know, of the beers we've had, I feel like we've also had more exciting beers. Like, I thought it was a big beer, but for a big beer, it was kind of average, middle of the road. Like, the stuff we had tonight, I would take over Arrogant Bastard.
Absolutely.
well.
I'm in complete agreement. I would have given it a 7. I mean, that solid 7. I'm not going to rate it one of the best beers in the world, and that's what I'm trying to say. Is, you know, the flavor is there, but I think that there are certain people that tell you that is the flavor that you need to have.
Right.
You know, like, you need to have that. This is one of the best beers in the world. I don't think so. I mean,
Okay, Adam, if you were going to give your sales pitch of what this show actually is to people, what is this show?
this is beer drinking for non-beer drinkers.
What do you think?
I don't think it's a beer drinker show for non-beer drinkers. I think it's a beer drinkers show for beer drinkers that have an open mind and are curious about what other people think about beers. I mean, we're average people with, average taste buds. I mean, we're not the expert sommeliers. I mean, we don't have like that, we don't know how to explain everything about a beer, but what we can tell you is we like it, we don't like it, what we like it with, what we don't like it with, and the flavors that we taste.
Where do you think we should take the show?
I think we should take it where it is. I think we should grow with it. I think we should. Really, seriously, I think we should stick with what we're doing. Give everybody a chance to give their honest opinions on the beers, and whether or not you have the experience in craft beers or not craft beers, and then hopefully we can get some more sponsorships with different breweries and with different distributors and everything.
So James, from your initial
Yeah, tell us about the
10,000 foot pie in the sky thought.
How do you think it's going?
How's it come? Is it where you thought it would be?
And where did it start? Give us the beginning story.
I mean, I don't even know where it started, except I remember having a conversation at a bar with you about it.
Yeah, I lost
and
$5.
we looked up the website address. But, I mean, I'm pretty happy with how it's gone so far. It's kind of what I imagined, or it's pretty close to the image that I had for the show. I knew that it would take some time for us to grow into our roles and get used to this format. What I would like for the future is, just more episodes. The more beers we have, the more informed and educated our opinions will be, and I think the more meaningful they will be. But at the same time, I like the aspect of, we didn't come into this as, noses in the air, snobs. We're pretty open-minded to try every beer.
So with that, one of the comments we got on our Arrogant Bastard videos, how can you call yourself a better beer authority when you're just newcomers to the table?
Well, it's just a catchy moniker. It doesn't make sense to call it something like the mediocre beer novices. It's just a name. If someone calls themselves the Mattress King, I don't assume that they are the king of mattresses. I actually do research and find out that they make good mattresses. And I hope that our future is making good mattresses. And this is the longest episode of the Better Beer Authority ever. And with that, I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority.
Better Beer Authority.
Better Beer Authority.